Hello and welcome to another Dragonstorm Studios video. And today we're going to continue our series for Inktober by drawing the creature from Guillermo Del Toro's masterpiece, The Shape of Water. Now, of course, I have drawn Mr. Del Toro before in a previous video, and in that video, the background did have kind of the poster art for that movie, but it was small background, meant to be just kind of setting some backdrop and some narrative for the subject. Here we're actually going to draw the creature in all of its wonderful detail, and we're going to see how that turns out. It's probably one of the more ambitious drawings I will have undertaken this channel, simply because there's so much going on in the creature design, which really does make it so impressive as a monster, if you want to call it that, from the film. Mr. Del Toro, of course, is known for his monsters, the monsters which are portrayed a bit more sympathetic, obviously. And if you've seen the movie, incredible cinematography, great creature design, amazing acting. No spoilers in this particular video. It's certainly not for everybody. There were some uncomfortable moments in the film, but there's a reason why it won multiple Academy Awards. I remember going to see this film in 2017, and at the time it had a very limited release. This is before the awards it received and got a wider release. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm not sure if this is really for a wider audience, but I was so pleased to see that I think it made about $195 million off of a reportedly $20 million budget. So it was a successful film. It brought a lot of attention to Mr. Del Toro, who likely should have had more previously. Everything from Mimic onward, I'd seen of his, and I just loved his work, and very glad to see him get some very positive buzz over that film. But it was such an amazing, eye-opening experience to see this romantic fantasy and see it work and do so well, which was wonderful. The film is ostensibly about a creature who has been captured from, I guess, a South American river region, and this creature, which looks an awful lot like the creature from the Black Lagoon, who actually isn't given a name during this film. It's implied perhaps that it could be some sort of river god, but either way, it's just got this amazing design, which is certainly harkens back to the I believe it's 1950s movie that it kind of is inspired by, and just takes it in such a unique direction. The monster isn't really portrayed in the classical sense of being this terrifying thing. In fact, it kind of forms a relationship with a mute janitor that works at the facility where it's being held, and it's got these wonderful moments where there isn't any dialogue and everything is done visually, which is such a unique way of making it work for the audience, which I'm always amazed at how you can create these stories without a lot of dialogue. And it's really quite incredible how they tackle a lot of the visuals and a lot of the storytelling in this film. In fact, if I was to put on a film critic hat just for a moment, for which I have absolutely no qualifications whatsoever, I will say that I feel that the Michael Shannon character, the Colonel, is a little bit over the top as a villain. And I don't think it's the acting per se, but I think the script makes it a little bit forced, a little bit too pushed that he is an unsympathetic character. Other than that, the film I thought was absolutely incredible, especially the visuals, for which, I mean, it's a Del Toro film. That should come as no surprise. So in the drawing itself, I've been talking a lot about the film. Shading, of course, is one of the most important factors. In fact, while I was speaking and you've been watching, you've probably seen the drawing go from a stage where you're maybe not very impressed with how it looked in the first 3 or 4 minutes to a really amazing marked improvement in the last minute or two. And again, using the blending stomp is a huge help to get these gradients from dark to light, but certainly all of that dark, all of that work really pays off. Another thing which is very important in any kind of drawing this complex is to make sure you've got lots of details. So as I work on these fins, maybe gills, some sort of apparatus there around the neck, it really makes a big difference to be able to put a lot of work into not only the shading, but also to have the lines show up. There's also lots of little imperfections as well, where you've got little clefts in the gills or fins. But again, shading just to show the overlap is so very important in any of these drawings. So as we add those details in, and especially again these lines here in the fins, it really does make such a big difference. It really does give the kind of work ethic and detail which makes the drawing look good. Again, just like we spoke of in the last video, not really something which is requiring a lot of skill. It's more patience than anything else. Speaking of patience, bubbles in the background to show that the character is underwater will help set the stage, give it a bit more narrative. I think it's pretty obvious he's an underwater creature, but the bubbles, which are imperfect, and we've done bubbles before on this channel, so I can post a link to a video to show you how to do that in more detail perhaps. These bubbles will just create the illusion that he's underwater. And you'll notice as well in the bottom right hand corner of the drawing, I've added a hand which has the finny kind of membrane bits there to show that he's underwater. So we're just using a paper towel at this point to help get some of the shading in there. There's so much to shade that the blending swamp is just not big enough, even though I've got a larger one for normally big areas like this. So I hope you enjoyed watching that drawing take shape. I'm going to post a picture of the final version right here. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and we will see you next time.